The following is a presentation of MRE UNO, Division 2. Court is in session for the one game of the day. The one and only game of the day. The one and only case on the docket in Justice July. And today we have a 5-12 game coming out of the jury region, as it's going to be Markus taking on Puzzledan. Markus coming into this tournament 3-1-3, needs to make the round of 16 in order to keep his season alive beyond this tournament. And for Puzzledan, it's kind of a similar situation to what we saw last night in our last stream game we had between Ninja Jax and Tanya. Puzzledan, just the one win, had the win over Sky in February, and it's been a long time since then. Looking to try and get a second win on the season, play spoiler to Markus's season, and stay alive to play another game. We take a look at the bracket for this round, and it's the last spot in the top half of the jury region. You have White Spider and Clint facing off in a 1v9 round 2 matchup, and the winner here will get Pikachu, who pulls another round 1 domination, sweeping out Hole. And we'll see what goes down today for this final game in the top half of the jury region. Still one more game to go in the jury region. That'll be between Ridley and Jackson, but this is second to last coming up here. And we welcome you into the table here. The jury stage should be an interesting one here today. Yoshi may join me later on the booth, but for now it's just me, so I'll start with Puzzledan on the questions here, since Markus isn't in DC quite yet, but I will ask him his first question by text. So Puzzledan, I'll start with you. Obviously only the one win on the season, although you've been very hooked into the league. Obviously, you see plenty of events. We've seen plenty of Uno get played. Your thoughts on coming into this tournament, trying to play a little bit of a spoiler role to Markus, who needs the two big true wins to continue on this season. And you obviously, I mean, I doubt making LCQ is like top of mind, but it's definitely something you'd want to do a lot, but you have to do a lot to get there. Just thoughts on this one coming into the last regular season tournament. While Puzzledan types, I'm going to type questions since I'm alone. Sorry, this will be silent for a moment. And just to Marcus's thoughts on the position entering this last tournament, 2 wins needed to make the LCQ. Also thoughts on playing Puzzledan, who's definitely a bit more house money with just 1 win, looking to try and spoil your efforts to make a push for LCQ. Wait for both of their responses. So, this is the one and only game today in Justice July. We are going to have a doubleheader tomorrow, starting with Fitzy and Guest in the GAVEL region, and then in the prosecution region between Wes and Meredith at 10 p.m., 7 a.m. for Fitzy and Guest. Australia versus Singapore battle over there. Obviously, we have an all-European battle here, Germany and the UK. And Wes and Meredith, if I recall, trying to remember theirs. Let me look. Meredith not declaring a state, but it's an all-American battle. Wes hailing from Michigan. And Puzzledan saying, we're here to make a statement. I feel like, yes, I got that win in T1, but I haven't showed much since then. I'd like to get past round 1, and we will see what happens, then 1 step at a time. Like I say, always, just going to play Uno and see what will happen. Pressure creates diamonds, and maybe I need that pressure to flourish in this last tourney. Looking forward to it. And we are just about ready to get this one underway. We have just made the call for a send prior to the start, so for the season. Okay. Yeah. And reminder that Markus isn't in PCs, so you can't hear what we're saying. We're going to send it. And game 1 sender from Markus. Here we go. And that Markus always likes to play with a little bit more in the hand, so you can't be surprised to see him make this call at the start of the series. And here we go. Start with a red 5 from Markus, off and running. Again, the winner here will get the 4-seed Pikachu, who left no doubt against Toll, locked himself into LCQ. And if Markus wins, it'll be a win and end game for the LCQ for him. If Puzzledan wins, it's obviously still a lot of uphill climb to do, but we'll see what goes down in those kind of games. So, back and forth on the red to start us off. And there's the first switch into blue from Puzzledan on the 8. Obviously, this is best of 7, 1 power play aside. And undercut from Markus going green, trips 8 on the board. And Puzzledan looking to try and respond. Do we stay green? We will with the 3. So early light switches there after a few back and forths on the red. We're going to stay green from Markus as well. Green there. There's 0 sugar from Markus. There's a +2 for Markus. Zero Sugar switch from Puzzledan to blue. Markus with the response out. And now green 2. Back to green. So, delayed undercut from Puzzledan. And Markus, no green to say here. Now Puzzledan looking to try and keep it going. Dittos it. Still behind by a card, and now it's tied. Can take the possession arrow with the play here. And here's the quick thinker here. Little stop and think here from Puzzledan. Gonna go back to blue again. We're bouncing between blue and green. Puzzledan did want the blue, so a little bit of an interesting fade move here. Markus does have blue to play. He was trying to get there as well. There's a +4 from Markus. Going now to yellow. And there's the third 0 played. That opens Pandora's box finally, after about 5 minutes. Force it into yellow, so now he takes the lead. But Puzzledan's going to respond with a pair looking for a triple. Be a quad play. We're going to switch it. Nope, just a triple. Keeping it yellow in the 4, and we haven't seen a lot of yellow, so it doesn't surprise me that we keep it yellow here. And, oh, Puzzledan making it back to blue after a quick trip to yellow, and the light switching starting to go on here. Double play here from Puzzledan coming. There it is. 6. So, and now Markus going back to yellow again. Forcing the issue is Markus on the 6s. There's a +4 from Puzzledan. Huge run, +6. And this could be it. Markus thinks it's over. Let's see if it is over. Puzzledan making sure he gets everything right. Oh, it's a check. Not a terrible move, but it's the second +4, and now you're in red. There are +2s out there. Very possible you could have something coming back on you here. Oh boy. Yep, just a +2 though. Pretty solid. We'll see how much that affects Puzzledan here. And nothing. So no green. That's a good move from Markus, and now he's going to go back to yellow. He knows that the red isn't going to be in play, so Markus can hold that red hostage as long as he can, unless a perfect number switch falls in. Here comes Puzzledan with some more. Is he able to get back into red? He does, and that's it. The skips fall his way, and he finds the connection to get it done, despite Markus trying to stall him out, and that was clutch ammo control there. Well, I don't know how much of that came from the +6, but Puzzledan getting on the board in game 1. Or it came from the +2, I should say. That was +6 going the other way. My fault. Yeah. Yeah, Puzzledan, talk to me about your perseverance there. Despite being literally one card off, you figure that +6 was going to come back on you, but to be able to have that ammo ready in the reserves there, after what he gave you to be able to get those connections, fading. Oh, wild or wild +4. Yeah, just talk. Yeah. Things fell away. Yeah, being able to persevere despite being thrown off the finish there at the end. Yeah, some patience is a virtue. Yeah, it can be a waiting game. Definitely. Game of luck, and I had just bad luck. It, it'll stop him the first time, ultimately got the connections he needed. Anything more to it? I don't think there was really much more to it than that from Markus. Kind of just tough luck for him on the end of that game. Yeah, tried best. I definitely think he did good in this. That was a pretty close game. Having those crazy comebacks in the kind of the word the answers back. Kind of the again, we kind of see the not so fast moments that we saw in D1 earlier with me and Seth. So maybe we're getting a repeat performance. Who knows? But not quite as crazy. Here, I mean, ready to go. But game 2, 14. Here we go. And starting us off, yellow 1. Again, an interesting how that went out because it took 5 minutes to get Pandora's box open. That is a little bit of a longer stretch than what you'd normally think. Oh, trips 4 into red. Undercut. Double play, skip 9. Well, now to yellow on the 6 again. Go back to where we started. To green. Puzzledan's got that, so Pandora's a little open a little earlier this time, just over 2 minutes gone by. So, wild early for Markus. See how far that works out. Head by 3. As Puzzledan iced quickly. Draw there after the green switch. So Markus doing a very good job at being able to ISO as he pulls that not so fast again. And 1 up to the 2. So running uncontested on the green, trying to even up the series at 1. Ahead by 6. And Puzzledan with a big 2 to cross to yellow. And see if Markus has anything. No. Five, and now Markus top decks a 7. Up a pair to the 9. Still nothing from Markus. Just a top deck 7. Didn't do much for him. Puzzledan looking to try and keep chipping away here. Could be tied table-wise here if it has another one in tow. But here he goes to blue now, taking the tie, looking for the lead. And he's got it with the 9. So now in blue. So ahead by the possession arrow is Puzzledan on the road. Markus has 1 down to the 8 on the blue. And now we're going red. Puzzledan quickly getting out of that blue. And again, ices Markus. Great ISO strat from Puzzledan here. Excuse me. Now here is a reverse from Puzzledan, looking to maybe try and lock it up again. He's down to 2, trying to take game 2, and he does. Double reverse. And a great ISO pack from Puzzledan goes up 2-0 in the series. And Puzzledan, it definitely seems like you've had the connections with the numbers to be able to slow Markus down that entire game. It just seems like you had his number so to speak. I mean, apart from that green where he got you iced immediately, but then that 2 for yellow came up pretty clutch. Thoughts on that ISO pack you've been running with there? And Marcus, it just, like I just said to him, it just seems like he's had he kind of knew where you couldn't play throughout most of that game. I don't know if there are any adjustments you feel you could make to maybe try and put a little more mystery into what playing, because or maybe you just didn't have the best of hands considering kind of got you 2-color ISO'd there pretty quickly. Work out perfectly. Been pausing every so often. I think it's worked out. Oh, so taking those stop and think moments might be helping for him. Marcus says before we move forward to Puzzledan's homestand, but sweeping on the road is Puzzledan, putting himself in a goods position. Played very poorly, was barely hard, only with numbers to get a path for the win. Yeah, so mostly numbers, but all about those connections. And even then, like, it was a light ammo game, to be honest. Like, there was those skips and reverses from Puzzledan, but there were no force draw cards. There was a skip there from Marcus, but it's all about the connections in these kind of games. So we're seeing a little bit of light ammo play again. You kind of saw that to an extent last night. Yeah, it is a significant gap, but I wouldn't say it's got the biggest of impacts yet. We'll see how it impacts the rest of the series. So now Puzzledan to you. Game 3 cannot be 14. How many cards? Go with half off special to the 7. Yeah. Off we go. Blue +2. Open door here for Puzzledan. We'll see if he works with it. Yeah, and even the early draws, he was able to run with what he had, despite getting iced a couple times by Marcus, and then he just had all those connections to be able to, slow it all down. So we'll see what happens here as Puzzledan not going to run through it. Gonna with through the open door, closes it with the blue 8, blue 2 from Marcus. +4 from Puzzledan on the red. And drawn out from Puzzledan. After the Ditto 3s, he goes for red, and now he's iced himself out. Interesting here. And 5 now. I'd have tried to play a little mind game. Yoshi might be right. It is a bold move to be locked up pretty quickly. Yeah, Marcus may just be running uncontested at this point. Ahead by 3. There's a +2. And yeah, Puzzledan I think might have just been looking for a connection. Might have been looking for an ammo connection there. I think he might have. Yep. Just needed that. I think he needed a skip or something there. Goodness. Yeah. Yeah, Puzzledan was a little mind gamey there because drawing on that, were you just looking for a connection? Yeah, spot on. That's what I figured. Just probably were looking for that red skip. I take it. That red skip was key. So again, top deck heaven here from Puzzledan, and he goes up 3-0. Goodness. Yeah, Marcus again. I have no idea. I really don't know at this point. I don't know what to say. That's just tough. Just yeah, move. That's fair enough, man. That's fair enough. All right. Yep. Game 4. Puzzledan no 7. Yeah. Yeah. And here we go. Start us off red 4. Puzzledan looking to try and probably have the most dominant win of his career. Starting to come down a little more to luck in these last two. The first game was pretty even, but now in a really tough situation. And Puzzledan immediately with the ammo. Not messing around. If this is a 9-bagger, no, it's just a 4-bag. Circle the bags to blue and makes that move. Take a look at the bracket at this point. Again, Puzzledan looking to try and make this the battle of the brooms in round 2 as Pikachu had the same result against Hole. Ironically, also on stream, so this and he's trying to make it his second win on the season. Again, play spoiler to Marcus's. Now you look here, Marcus, huge run, and again, the aggression level in these kind of situations, you start to see things change a little bit. And way more. And Puzzledan just going to play chill with a 1. Now we're going blue, Puzzledan, with the wild, running clean. And it's neck and neck, but Marcus is out. Puzzledan with 4, looking to try and maybe lock it down. And 1 up to the 3. And, oh, power play on the stall for Marcus. And it's still Marcus's turn. Could play again if card or either draw at this point. And we'll see how much that affects the finish here. But top decks the other 3. So I had it, honestly, yeah. It's just a stall. It's even. Puzzledan can take the possession arrow here. It does. Doubles it up to the 6. Cross to yellow now from Markus. Huge. See where that takes us. Have not seen yellow in, like, that we haven't. That's the first yellow we're seeing, so this could be a big risk. But Puzzledan, nothing. And that is a huge, huge move for Markus. That is the exact thing that Markus needed to stay alive. We'll see. I don't know how much the power play would affect this outcome, but Markus making it to yellow, I think the yellow is huge. Less so on the power play. It did set up the, it did get him there, so we'll see. Markus with the yellow 9 to check. Puzzledan at 5. Can he do anything here? Back to blue. Markus wants cards. No. No blue there. Puzzledan now. Does he have control to the end? Or is this double ISO? Down a pair. Cross to green now. And now they're both going. Markus thinks it's over. Puzzledan at 2. They're both at 2. Got it to check with the 1. Markus. Nothing. Puzzledan for the series. No. What is that last card? We are not done yet. Unbelievable indeed. It is not over. He top decks a 2. Brings it back to 2-2 again. Has a yellow 2. And Markus going all in. 5, double Uno, Puzzledan for the series. He's got it with the 8, and Puzzledan sweeps Markus. And that is the season for Markus, ending in a tough, tough sweep. A little bit of an imbalance on ammo, a little bit of balance. It's all had quite a bit of everything. Not quite the most competitive game, unfortunately, but you know, that's just sometimes how Uno is. But Puzzledan, thoughts on this win as you live to fight another day? Just absolute dominant performance. And like doing that to you, yeah. Uno just going to Uno. And Markus, I mean, I think that's just sometimes how the cookie crumbles in the game of Uno, right? Just sometimes the luck doesn't. But you definitely had some good. You did some good flashes in this game, and also in game 1, definitely looked pretty close. Had answers for him, but the 2 and 3 were just tough ones. Thoughts on this series overall, and looking forward now to your off season. Unfortunately, tonight. He's hoping didn't get swept. Well, it was a sweep. I guess he was wrong. He said no sweep. It was indeed a sweep, unfortunately. Yeah, and these are the toughest games to really analyze as a host, as a color commentator. That's just how the games crumbles. That's how the cookie crumbles is all I can really say. And that's exactly what I said when Pikachu did this exact same thing the other day. So that is just how things are going to turn out. You were wrong. Yeah, but it'll be 4v12 in the round of 32, and there is your bracket. White Spider Clint, Pikachu Puzzledan in second round. Amount of, nothing to say. Unbelievable amount of missed timing. It's just just how it goes. I definitely had these feelings against Red last tournament. That's just how it is sometimes, man. I feel you. So, that will do it for this one. Fortunately, quite quick, but maybe that's fine because I have work soon. Yeah, got the 2. That 2 was huge. Blue 4 was the last. All right. That will do it for us. You take a look one more time at the bracket. Pikachu Puzzledan will be in that 4-12 line. So one more game to go in this region. It'll be Ridley versus Jackson on Sunday night at 7. And we are off stream until Sunday evening as we await the game between Bree and Tevin in the defense region. We still have 5 more games to go in the round of 64 of Justice July, but I'd like to thank everyone for helping out today. Despite Yoshi not being able to talk, I still appreciate those thoughts from text. That's better than nothing. Appreciate Red for reffing, and thanks to Markus and Puzzledan for coming out and playing. But Markus, his season ends at 3-1-4, 21-23, and Puzzledan will live to find another day, sweeping Markus 4-0 and improves to 2-3, 11-13. Pikachu and Puzzledan coming up. The Battle of the Brooms in round 1. They both swept. Something's got to give. We'll see what happens in that. We will see you again on stream D1 tomorrow at 10 a.m. D2 Sunday night at 6. But for now, for all of us at MRE UNO, I have been Not Short. We thank you so much for joining us. And for today, on this Friday, court is adjourned.
This has been a presentation of MRE UNO Division 2.